It feels amazing in my greenhouse right now. Oddly enough, I am out in the old greenhouse. It's so funny, guys. I never really envisioned myself missing this space. You know, I mean, it's a wonderful greenhouse and it served me, you know, a lot of purpose for 2 years. But I just knew when I got the new greenhouse that my friend Sean built for me, you know, I was just gonna have like all these crazy possibilities of like a really, really amazing gardening year just because I was gonna be able to grow better plant starts. Yet, I have found myself coming out here more and more. Now, I'm not actually starting plants out here, but I am out here to kind of draw some inspiration. And I don't know, there's so much love went into this stinking greenhouse. It totally looks different because my, you know, desk that was in here, right over here, Nathan actually took out and put in my other greenhouse. So quite a bit is different in here, honestly, but I don't know, it's kind of nestled up here against some woods, and I'm coming out here just to kind of draw some inspiration and figure out really what I'm envisioning my spring garden to look like, things I want to add in. Now, of course, I've already honed in on my variety list. Like, I already know what flowers I'm growing, I already know what vegetables I'm growing. However, I'm still trying to nail down what beds I want my vegetables in, and I've got some that are just devoted to garlic, and so I won't be able to plant anything in that bed, but there's still probably 4 beds that I have the liberty of really trying to figure out what I want to grow in them. And when I walk out into the garden, what do I want to feel from the garden? I came out here with my notebook and pen, and I'm gonna just kind of sketch out the garden, play around with a few ideas. I'll actually walk out there and try to figure out, this is probably the hardest part for me in figuring out the layout of the garden. I probably changed this several times before I actually put them in. That's why I actually prefer to start and transplant out as many things as I can instead of direct sowing, because I like to put plants everywhere, right? And I like to figure out, okay, I want this to go here, I want this to have a trellis and go here. Obviously my beans I just direct sow, but other than that, I kind of like the liberty of setting a plant down, seeing if I can envision what that's going to look like, and if not, just moving it. So that's what I'm going to work on today, and I encourage you guys to do that too. You know, whenever you're growing a garden, yes, you're probably growing it for food. That's probably a huge driving factor behind why you plant food, but it also is, you know, it's good for you. It's therapy for me. It's probably therapy for a lot of you guys. And so I want the garden to do more than just produce food for me. I want it to produce a sanctuary, if you will, and a place that I can go to often on those long days and feel rejuvenated. And you guys know the garden means so much to me. I know a lot of you guys on the other end of this watching it, that the garden means a lot to you guys. And so really just take a minute. It's kind of like this little exercise practice where you just like close your eyes and you really envision, when you close your eyes and you think about your garden, what are those small details that you think about? For me, I kind of envision just like pots just protruding with, you know, herbs, and I envision trellises just, you know, having beautiful beans and Chinese noodle beans that you can just walk through, and it feels so majestic. And, you know, I envision an arbor at the beginning of our garden that's just covered in nasturtiums or flowers or something like that. And so I really try to get that picture in my head. That way, whenever it comes time to planting, yes, I will still probably change the layout of the garden several times. I'm one of those that is my personality. I'm really kind of bad at like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna stick with this. That is just not how I thrive. I like to play around. I like, you know, things to be a bit whimsical. And so that's what we're gonna try to work on today. Now, I've been slowly cleaning out the garden. This is something that has been something that I've been needing to work on a lot actually, and just really put some emphasis on. You know, this is my least favorite time of the year. Oh, I'm not a winter girl at all. I prefer the spring and the summer all day long. So it is hard for me to kind of make myself come outside when it's cold and when I just would rather be doing inside chores or starting seeds or something like that. But I know that it's really important. It's important for me to lay eyes on the garden often. It's important for me to see what needs to come out. We're about to start amending beds. We have sent our soil off to be tested. So right now I'm going to spend the next few weeks until we get our soil sample back and just really start cleaning out some beds. So some things will still stay in our beds, but look at this, you guys. I've got lots of turnips that ended up doing something. So we'll need to go through and see which ones of these we can harvest. Look at these little bitty guys. So I may actually leave some of these little turnips, but I'll go through and harvest some of these. We also have collards that we can start harvesting and eating. I've got scarlet kale, which although this isn't big, I have been able to harvest off of this quite a bit. And then our dino kale, of course, is doing really, really well. But I probably need to go ahead and harvest all of this and just clean out these beds. So there's not a lot in the garden. I'm harvesting the rest of the Brussels sprouts. Today I actually harvested the rest of the kohlrabi that I'll be fermenting. Like I said, I've got the turnips and some kales. But for the most part, we've harvested everything that there is to harvest. We just have to now start cleaning out the bed. I did at the end of summer buy some plants from our local co-op. There were some cabbages that was on sale. I just couldn't say no. And I knew they were not going to produce for the winter. However, I think that they are going to be perfect for the spring. So they're actually doing really good. And I'm going to leave those and kind of just leave this bed alone. You guys can see here they're starting to make a little head, so I'll just keep these in there. There's just a few of them too, so I've got 8, and I'll leave these right here and they'll probably make a good little head come the spring. But other than that one bed in particular, I'm going to be cleaning everything else out. I do have the bed that I planted garlic in that will stay, and then we have the bed with our strawberries that I planted the rest of it with onions. That bed will stay. But then everything else, it's just a fresh, clean slate. It's actually how I prefer it. I enjoy, you know, kind of that weird transition season. I actually like it because although I don't love this time of year, I love what this time of year represents, and it represents the next season, which is going to be a lot of anticipation for the spring and the summer garden. So I kind of like when I've officially like dug my heels in and cleaned out the garden beds, we've amended them, and then we just wait, and I just wait for that ticking time clock where I can go and I can get my seedlings, I can put them in the ground. It's one thing that I do actually really enjoy about the winter. I can say I like one thing. And so I'm just really excited, but the garden is just, it's madness, you know, like it is. I've got tarps everywhere and I've got insect netting everywhere. So I really need to be diligent and just start cleaning this bad boy up. Start preparing for the spring and summer garden. I also really want to figure out something to do with this space. So originally the greenhouse was going to go right here. That was the plan. That's why we didn't build any more beds right there. Like the whole purpose whenever we were laying out the rest of these 10 beds that Nathan built me was for a greenhouse to go here. Now we measured the hoop house over there, and if you guys can kind of see, if I can show you, where there, you see where it's shaded? So that just continues to extend here, and so there would only be a short period of time during the day that it got the full potential sun that it needed. And so our friend was like, yeah, we can do it, but your plants might suffer. And just because I've dealt with that in the previous greenhouse and I know, you know, what the shade did, what too much shade did, we just decided to leave it where it was, just to give it the optimal, you know, potential and sun exposure. asked a lot of questions. Coco's doing really well. Her babies are getting so big. Coco is doing exceptional. Her babies are now hopping in and out of the nesting box. They are so stinking cute. Chocolate is actually bred and she will be having babies in a few weeks, so we'll keep you up to date on that. But I put some hay in here for her earlier and her little babies for whenever they hopped out. Hey, Mama. Hey. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you being a good mama? You being a good mama? You guys can see the little babies in there snoozing away. They are just so sweet. I'm not getting them. Look at them. Alright, I'm gonna leave you alone. She has been such an incredible mom. The kids have loved coming out here and seeing the babies. It's so fun to see your kids experience life on the farm. You know, it's like, we knew it would be fun. It's fun for me, but seeing my kids enjoy it has made it a bit more sweeter. I did actually want to check on all my seeds in the big greenhouse. I never added a heat mat in there. We never got the grow light, so I'm actually going to move those into my herb rooms with my peppers, but I haven't checked on them in a few days, so it's probably time that we go out there and see what's going on. I don't actually think anything sprouted. It's been really, really cold, so we'll see. There's actually seeds that sprouted! What? Oh my gosh, y'all, this was such a surprise. That's crazy. I did not think these would have sprouted at all. All right, so we've got some romaine that has sprouted. Look at that. And then we've got some spinach down there. So these haven't sprouted yet. Here are my herbs and some kale. And then here are some more kales and lettuce. I probably need to water all of them really good. But look at this. Ah, y'all, this was so exciting. Look at that little thing emerging. Oh, yeah. Wow. That is so incredibly exciting. That just made my entire day. Now, I will still move these inside, but I was just not expecting to come out here and have seen those sprouted, so yes, that makes me feel so good. It's actually 78 degrees out here, so I'm a little hot. I'm gonna head back out into the garden. Y'all, I have my first seeds of 2021 that just sprouted. That is a really good feeling. Oh, it is so much warmer in here. All right, now that I'm back in the greenhouse, I'm just gonna jot down some of the trellises, what they look like in the beds, and just really start playing around with some creativity and figure out what to plant on them. It'll be fun. I'm probably going to get some of my seeds and just figure out the things that I would trellis, where I would want those. I actually have a few more cattle panels that we could add to the garden that I didn't have up that I may actually put up. So this is exciting. I get to dream for my spring garden. Now, I've already laid out this plan a few times, like I said, but nothing's set in stone yet. And I just got some new seeds in, so that changed things as well. But thank you guys for hanging out with me today in the garden and checking on the bunny rabbits. But have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon.